Francis Bacon. He was a philosopher and essayist. He enjoyed the patronage of Earl of Essex. In 1597, he published 10 essays. In 1612, 38 essays, and in 1625, 58 essays. Great Instauration. Instauratio Magna or Great Instauration, that is Great Renewal, was an idea propounded by Bacon in The Advancement of Learning, which was published in 1605. It is a tract on education. Bacon planned his Great Instauration in imitation of the divine work, the work of the 6 days of creation as defined in the Bible, leading to the 7th day of rest or Sabbath, in which Adam's dominion over creation would be restored. Bacon's essays. The term essay was adopted from who wrote essays on friendship, love, death, and morality. Here I am quoting some statements from Off Studies, which is prescribed in most of the universities. Studies serve for delight, for ornament, and for ability. Their chief use for delight is in privateness and retiring. For ornament is in discourse, and for ability is in the judgment and disposition of business. To spend too much time in studies is sloth. To use them too much for ornament is affectation. To make judgment wholly by their rules is the humor of a scholar. Crafty men admire them, and wise men use them, for they teach not their own use, but that is a wisdom without them and above them, won by observation. Very famous quotes. Now, other works of Francis Bacon are The Advancement of Learning, De Sapientia Veterum, which was a Latin work published in 1609. Novum Organum is also a Latin work published in 1620. And the next work is The New Atlantis, which is an unfinished utopian fiction published in 1624. It accounts a discovery by English sailors of an island called Ben Salem in the Pacific Ocean. Margaret Cavendish's The Blazing World was written as a response to this work. Next, I move on to the writer John Donne. He was born into a Roman Catholic family. He secretly married Anne More, for which he was briefly imprisoned. Sir Robert Dury was his patron. He wrote 5 satires, 20 elegies of poems of love, not of mourning, then epigraphs and verse letters. He wrote 19 religious songs, which is compiled in Holy Sonnets. His early poetry were of erotic type. It avoided Petrarchan or Elizabethan conventions and explored the theme of love in a variety of moods. His major poems are The Flea, The Canonization, A Hymn to God the Father, The Relic, A Valediction Forbidding Morning, Sun Rising, Lovers' Academy, etc. In 1615, he entered Anglican priesthood upon the insistence of James I. The Good Morrow is one among his famous poems. The poem opens with a reference to a Catholic legend, as Donne says, I wonder by my troth, what thou and I did till we loved, were we not weaned till then, but sucked on country pleasures childishly, or snorted we in the 7 sleepers' den. This refers to the 7 sleepers, the Catholic legend of 7 Christian children persecuted for their faith during the reign of the Roman Emperor Decius, who fled to the shelter of a cave where they slept for more than 200 years. The speaker experiences a sense of wonder having awoken in bed with his lover. He makes a discovery that their love makes finding new worlds pale in importance. He communicates to his lover that they have proceeded from their former childish pleasures to this moment where their souls have finally awakened. Something miraculous has happened. If our two loves be one, or thou and I love, so alike that none can slacken, none can die. Next important work is the canonization. The speaker asks his addressee to be quiet and let him love. If the addressee cannot hold his tongue, the speaker tells him to criticize him for other shortcomings other than his tendency to love. Other shortcomings like his palsy, his gout, his 5 grey hairs, or his ruined fortune. He admonishes the addressee to look to his own mind and his own wealth, and to think of his position and copy the other nobles. The speaker does not care what the addressee says or does as long as he lets him love. The speaker asks rhetorically, "Who's injured by my love?" He says that his sighs have not drowned ships, his tears have not flooded land, his colds have not chilled spring, and the heat of his veins has not added to the list of those killed by the plague. Soldiers still find wars and lawyers still find litigious men, regardless of the emotions of the speaker and his lover. The speaker tells his addressee to call us what you will, for it is love that makes them so. He says that the addressee can call her me another of life, and that they are also like candles or tapers which burn by feeding upon their own selves and at our own cost die. Together, we two being one, they illuminate the riddle of the phoenix, for they die and rise the same, just as the phoenix does. Though unlike the phoenix, it is love that slays and resurrects them. He says that they can die by love if they are not able to live by it, and if their legend is not fit for tombs and hearse, it will be fit for poetry, and we will build in sonnets pretty rooms. A well-wrought urn does as much justice to a dead man's ashes as does a gigantic tomb, and by the same token, the poems about the speaker and his lover will cause them to be canonized, admitted to the sainthood of love. All those who hear their story will invoke the lovers, saying that countries, towns, and courts beg from above a pattern of your love. Next is Holy Sonnets, which was published posthumously. It turns passionately to God in a very personal way with a love forceful yet fearful. The titles of Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls and Thomas Merton's No Man is an Island was taken from Donne's Meditation number 17. Next important prescribed work of John Donne is Sonnet 14, Batter My Heart. It is a desperate and violent plea to God to break the speaker's heart as if it is a pot repaired by a tinker, so that he can be made new again. He tells God to seize the speaker as if he is a town usurped by the enemy, so that he can be free again. He also tells to ravish him as if he is a woman betrothed to the enemy or Satan, so that he can be made chaste again. Donne also wrote 2 anniversary poems, An Anatomy of the World, which was published in 1611, and Of the Progress of the Soul, 1612, for his patron Robert Dury. Thank you.